60 cars. For classes. One grueling 24-hour war. The 2026 Rolex 24 at Daytona has finally all the drivers confirmed after RLL Team McLaren announced the full lineup for the 2026 season. We are looking at a packed grid of 60 confirmed cars battling it out across the 4 categories: the incredible hypercar in GTP, the LMP2 field, and the massive and competitive GTD Pro and GTD classes. You want to know who's running? Let's break down every single team confirmed for the 2026 Rolex 24. Alright, let's begin with the GT class, the largest field on the grid. We will have 21 incredible cars fighting for glory. This is a massive class featuring 14 full-season challengers, plus 6 dedicated Endurance Cup warriors, and 1 Daytona-only entry. With 9 manufacturers represented, it's anyone's game. So let's start scrolling down the list and see which teams and cars are officially confirmed for GTD. In the GTD class, the British brand is highly competitive. We have at least 3 cars carrying the Aston Martin banner. Beginning with the number 19 van der Steur Racing, the drivers confirmed are Rory van der Steur, Sebastien Bourdais, Valentin Haseklot, and Carl Bennett. In the 27 Heart of Racing team, the drivers are Eduardo Barrichello, Tom Gamble, Zachary Robichon, and Mattia Drudy. And in the 44 Magnus Racing, we will have John Potter, Madison Snow, Spencer Pompelli, and Nicky team. Then comes the BMW's Privateer GT effort, the Turner Motorsport team in the car number 96 for the GTD class. In 2026, there will be a mix of white and yellow livery. The drivers are Patrick Gallagher, Robbie Foley, Francis Seldorf, and Jens Klingman. Corvette will have 3 cars featured in the GTD class at Daytona. Beginning with the 13 Autosport, formerly AWA. The drivers are Ori Fidani, Matt Bell, Lars Kern, and Ben Green. The second car, the DXDT Racing number 36, the drivers are Mason Philippi, Charlie Eastwood, Solly Yalek, and Scott McLaughlin. And in the 81 Dragon Speed, we have Henrik Hedman, Giacomo Altoe, Casper Stevenson, and Matteo Caroli. Ferrari will have 4 cars confirmed at Daytona. The first one is the 21AF course, with Simon Mann, Antonio Fuoco, Lilo Wadu, and Tommaso Mosca. The second entry is the O23 Triarci Competizione. The drivers are Onofrio Triarci, Kenton Koch, Robert Meganis, and Ife Yi. The third car is the number 34 Ferrari 296 GT3 Evo from Conquest Racing. The drivers are Manny Franco, Albert Costa, Lorenzo Patriesi, and Thierry Vermeulen. Finally, we have the 70 Inception Racing. The drivers are Brendan E. Reeb, Frederick Shandorf, Ollie Milroy, and David Fuminelli for the Rolex 24. Switching back to American manufacturers with the iconic Ford Mustang GT3 Evo with entries confirmed. First up is the new 2026 entry, the 16 Myers Riley Motorsports. The drivers are Sheena Monk, Felipe Fraga, Jensen Altsman, and Romain Grosjean. The second entry is the 66 Gradient Racing. This team has Jake Walker, Joey Hand, Till Bechtelsheimer, and Corey Lewis. From American Muscle, we move to Lamborghini, represented only by the 45 Wayne Taylor Racing. The team will have Danny Formal, Trent Hindman, Graham Doyle, and Marcus Ericsson. And then Lexus, which will also have a single car in the class by the Vassar-Sullivan team. In the number 12, the drivers are Benjamin Peterson, Aaron Telitz, Frankie Montecalvo, and Esteban Masson. Now the Mercedes-AMG. The 3-pointed star will have 2 cars at Daytona. First, we have the Winward Racing number 57. This team has Russell Ward, Philip Ellis, Indy Donch, and Lucas Auer. The second entry is the 80 Lone Star Racing. This team is anchored by James Rowe, Scott Andrews, Lynn Hodenius, and Ralph Aaron. The final manufacturer to detail in the amateur GT class is the king of endurance racing, Porsche, with 4 cars confirmed. Beginning with the RS1 number 28. The drivers are Eric Zitza, Jen Halen, Dylan Machavern, and Sven Muller. And then we have the 120 Wright Motorsports. This team is anchored by Adam Adelson, Callum Ilott, Tom Sargeant, and Elliott Skier. Next is the returning 123 Muehlner Motorsports America. Their lineup is headlined by the father and son duo of Dave Musial Sr. and Jr., Peter Ludwig and Ryan Yardley. And finally, the number 912 Porsche 911 GT3R Evo from Manthey First Form. The car is anchored by the 2025 WCLM GT3 champions Ryan Hardwick, Ricardo Pera, and Richard Leitz, and also by Maurice Schuring, who won Le Mans in the LM GT3 class in 2024. Now, shifting focus from the amateur ranks, we arrive at GTD Pro. With a grid of 15 all-professional entries representing 9 global manufacturers, this class has a strong grid for Daytona. BMW will have a single car in 2026 by Paul Miller Racing Team, running the number 1. The drivers are Connor De Philippi, Neil Verhagen, Max Hesse, and Dan Harper. Now Corvette, with the factory Pratt Miller Motorsports team fielding 2 Chevrolet Corvette Z06 GT3.R entries. In the number 3, the drivers are Alexander Sims, Antonio Garcia, and Marvin Kirchhofer. The sister car number 4 will be anchored by Nicky Katzberg, Tommy Milner, and Nico Verone. Ferrari has 2 dedicated cars for the GTD Pro class at Daytona. First, we have the legendary Rexy Competizione in the 62. They return with an all-Ferrari factory driver lineup consisting of Alessandro Pierguidi, Daniel Serra, and Davide Riggin. The second entry is the 033 TRC Competizione, marking the team's debut in the GTD Pro category. The car will be anchored by Alessio Rovera, James Colato, Miguel Molina, and Riccardo Agostini. Now comes the Blue Oval with the Ford Racing. They are running a 2-car factory effort in the GTD Pro class at Daytona. The 64 has Ben Barker, Dennis Olsen, and Mike Rockenfeller as the drivers, while the sister car number 65 will be anchored by Christopher Mies, Frederick Vervish, and Sebastian Priol. Lamborghini in Daytona will still be the Huracan GT3 Evo 2, but will be the last race before switching to the new Temerario GT3. The Squadra course will be represented exclusively by FAF Motorsports number 9. The car is headlined by Andrea Caldarelli, Sandy Mitchell, Mirko Bortolotti, and James Hinchcliffe. Lexus will be anchored by the number 14 Vassar Sullivan in the GTD Pro class. The drivers are Ben Barnicoat, Jack Hawksworth, and Kyle Kirkwood. McLaren is back to the IMSA grid in the GTD Pro class, represented by Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. The drivers are Max Esterson, Nikita Johnson, Dean McDonald, and Yuri Vieps. Mercedes-AMG has one of the largest contingents in the GTD Pro class, with 3 separate customer racing teams. The first entry to highlight is the number 48 Winward racing car. They have an incredibly fast roster featuring Jason Hart, Lucas Stoltz, Maxime Martin, and Scott Noble. Next we have the number 69 Bartoni brothers with Get Speed. The drivers are Anthony Bartoni, Fabian Schiller, Jules Gounon, and Maximilian Gotz. Finally, the number 75 Team 75 Express Mercedes-AMG. The lineup has Chaz Mustard, Kenny Habul, Mauro Engel, and Will Power. And finally Porsche, which is featuring 2 of the most iconic Porsches in all of GT racing. First, the AO Racing with the iconic Rexy. The drivers are Harry King, Nick Tandy, and Alessio Picariello. And the second car is the number 911 Manthey racing the iconic Grello. The drivers are Klaus Bachler, Ricardo Feller, Thomas Preining, and Iogen Guven. Now it's time to move to the prototypes with the LMP2 class. We have 13 entries confirmed. This is a Pro-Am battleground, where every team is required to run a bronze-rated driver. And in the LMP2 class, everyone runs the Oreca 07 prototype. So let's check now all the LMP2 entries for Daytona. In number 2 United Autosports, the drivers are Phil Fair, Mikkel Jensen, Hunter McElrea, and Ben Hanley. The sister car number 22 is anchored by Daniel Goldberg, Paul Di Resta, Rasmus Lind, and Gregoire Saucy. Then the number 04 CrowdStrike Racing by APR. The drivers are George Kurtz, Malf Jakobsen, Toby Sori, and Alex Quinn. In the number 8 Tower Motorsports, the drivers are John Ferrano, Sebastien Bourdais, Sebastian Alvarez, and Kiffin Simpson. The number 11 TDS Racing has a reshuffled lineup. Toby Lucky, Matthias Besch, David Heinemeier Hansen, and Charles Malezi are the drivers. The number 18 Era Motorsport will have Naveen Rao, Ferdinand Habsburg, Jacob Abel, and Logan Sargeant. The number 37 Intersport Racing is returning to the IMSA after competing in the American Le Mans Series in the past. The drivers are John Field, Oliver Jarvis, Seth Lucas, and Job van Uitert. In the number 43 Inter-Europol competition, the drivers are Jeremy Clark, Tom Dillman, Bijoy Garg, and Antonio Felix da Costa. In the sister car number 343 Inter-Europol competition, the drivers are Georgios Kalovos, Jakub Kuba, Smichowski, Nolan Siegel, and Nick Cassidy. In number 52 Brian Herta Autosport with PR1 Mathiasen Motorsports, the drivers are Misha Goikberg, Harry Tinknell, Parker Thompson, and Ben Keating. In the number 73 Pratt Miller Motorsports, the drivers are Chris Cumming, the Fittipaldi brothers Pietro and Enzo, and Manuel Espirito Santo. The number 83 AF course will be anchored by Francois Hariot, Nicholas Nielsen, Dylan Murray, and Matthew Vaxavier. To finish our deep dive into the 2026 LMP2 grid, the number 99 AO Racing Spike. The drivers are PJ Hyatt, Dane Cameron, Johnny Edgar, and Christian Rasmussen. And finally, the GTP class, known as the hypercars of North America. In 2026, 11 cars will be competing in the IMSA Top Class at Daytona, with 5 different manufacturers involved. Acura will be represented by Meyer Shank Racing with 2 car efforts for the Rolex 24 at Daytona. In the car 60, Colin Braun, Tom Blomqvist, Scott Dixon, and AJ Allmendinger are the drivers. In the sister car number 93, the drivers are Nick Yellowly, Renger van der Zonde, Alex Palou, and Ka Kuota. Aston Martin Valkyrie will make its debut at Daytona in 2026. The drivers are Roman De Angelis, Ross Gunn, Alex Riberas, and Marco Sorensen. BMW comes to Daytona with a recharged battery with a new team operator, WRT, and will also have an updated BMW M Hybrid V8 with 2 cars on the grid. The car number 24 features the lineup with Dries Van Thor, Sheldon van der Linde, Robin Freins, and Rene Rast. And then the sister car, the number 25, the drivers are Marco Wittmann, Philip Eng, Kevin Magnussen, and Rafael Marciello. In 2026, Cadillac also came with Evo Joker applied that changed the body visual and aerodynamics. The first Cadillac car to be discussed here is the number 31 Cadillac Whelan by Action Express Racing. The drivers are Earl Bamber, Jack Aitken, Frederick Vesti, and Connor Zilish. Then the number 10 Cadillac Wayne Taylor Racing. The drivers are Felipe Albuquerque, Ricky Taylor, and Will Stevens. And in the sister car, the number 40 Cadillac Wayne Taylor Racing. The drivers are Jordan Taylor, Louis Delatrez, and Colton Herta. Finally, we come to the kings of endurance, Porsche. The Stuttgart brand will be operated by the factory Porsche Penske Motorsport and the customer JDC Miller Motorsports in the 963. Beginning with the number 6 Porsche Penske Motorsport. The lineup is the same, which finished in second place at Le Mans last year with Kevin Estre, Lawrence Van Thor, and Matt Campbell. And now the reigning Daytona winner, the number 7 Porsche Penske Motorsport. The drivers are Felipe Nasser, Julian Anlauer, and Lauren Heinrich. And in the customer JDC Miller Motorsports number 85 Porsche 963, Nico Pino, Thymen van der Helm, and Kalen Frederick are the drivers. And that completes the full entry list for the Rolex 24 at Daytona, the IMSA season opener in 2026. So I have to ask, which team are you supporting on the high banks? What's your favorite driver? So let me know your opinion in the comment sections below. Thanks for watching, and we will see you at the green flag for the Rolex 24 at Daytona.